We're going to get started since it's 5 past the hour, and you can see that my sidekick is not here. Jeff is in Napa, and he had great intentions to come, maybe with a glass of wine, and decided with further practice and thought that he might want to be present where he is and not try to straddle both. So he's here in spirit, but having an amazing time with his wife, Jeannie, and their nonprofit organization that she's an executive director for, JWAS, and the founders in Napa, drinking wine and being surrounded by beauty. And so he's going to be here in spirit, and thank you for understanding. And I get you all to myself, Sierra, and I get you. So thank you for being here. Like I said before, if you want to be on camera, great. And if you don't need to. You do you. If you don't want to share and be verbally participatory, you don't need to. So you can just listen, soak in the goodness and the conversation. So whatever feels great, you do great. My intention for this hour is that we convene and connect light to light, heart to heart, to remember who we are, why we're here, what's unfolding during this time, to find the commonality in our stories, and to tune into the higher forces at work that are influencing us. And then my hope is that throughout our conversation and whatever bubbles up that we kind of unpack and talk about, it's going to really set you up for the month to come in a beautiful, intentional way. Hi, Erica, welcome. So we're probably going to kind of have 3 acts of this next hour. So the first is I'm going to share a theme that we're going to tee up for April that you'll see us write about and talk about. But it's really this theme of what is here now? What are the energies that are going to be influencing us in our work and in our personal lives? And how do we make sense of that? Then I'm going to ask that if anybody would like to share about what's present for you, or if you have a question or something that's on your mind or something that you're struggling with, we'll take a couple of shares. And then I'm going to guide us through a guiding meditation, just using some of that juice of what surfaces to help us clear and intend, because that's the forces right now. Like we are in this in between eclipses, in between seasons, and we're starting to really move into a fresh start, new beginnings and intention setting. So that's what this theme is about. And so then we'll embody that. Like, how does that feel in our body? And I think I'm going to guide us to play to an imaginary sacred space where we get to dream big and really like actualize what we want to bring forth, like what we are boldly ready for in this new cycle. And then I'll bring us back, and whoever would like to share, we're going to just do it instead of breakouts since we have a nice small group. Feel free to share what occurs to you, or a question, or anything that you might need guidance with. We'll just allow the rest of the time to be in conversation. So at any point, if you find yourself distracted, just take yourself off camera. And if you don't mind managing your own mute buttons, if you're ready to share, you can raise your hand or do an emoji or just take yourself off of mute. And at any time you can use the chat if you want to pose a question or you don't want to speak it, you want to say it. Are there any questions before we kind of get into it? Okay. So my intention is that after we leave here, you feel like you've just taken a breath of fresh air. Like your system is like, oh, I needed that. That you become more relaxed and open. Because when we're more relaxed and open, everything gets in better alignment to receive your own insight and wisdom, to receive the signals and synchronicities. Like we're just open to more possibility. And I want you to leave here feeling fucking stoked, like excited about this next chapter, because I don't know if you can feel it. Can y'all feel it? Like something's in the air. Like I just got goosies saying that. I don't know what it is, but there is this shift we're participating in. So that's how I'd love for you to feel, and it's how I want to feel. I'm craving that for myself because I too am getting stirred up in the unknown of a lot of dismantling, a lot of kind of things coming apart, looking at things with totally different perspective that actually I never saw or considered before is here. And as exciting as it is, it's really uncomfortable. So personally, I am like having to open Leading with Light in a random page and trusting that what I've shared needs to come back to me, to remember to follow flow, like to remember that I am light and that light comes with me wherever I go, and that there is a higher light guiding me, that I can trust that in divine timing, it will make itself clear what that next step is. But I don't know about you right now. I'm not super clear. I sense, I can feel, but I'm yearning and praying for more clarity. So maybe that resonates with you. So let me just tee up the themes of, like, you know me, many of you. I love to like attune to the larger forces at work that's in the planets and the stars, because I feel that we're all part of it. Like consciousness is everywhere. It's in every living form. It's in every particulate. It's in every object. Even if it's inanimate, there's consciousness, in my opinion, which leads me to, if anything I'm saying for you doesn't resonate, just throw it out. You don't have to hold on to it. But I do believe like there is consciousness in everything. So when we make a change within ourselves, we are impacting the whole ripple. And who knows how far out that can go. But when we attune to, like, isn't it interesting that there are just bigger forces at play that are impacting politics, our nation, the continents, the earth, all living things? I'm curious about how can I best align with some of those forces. So I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of astrology just because it can get too technical, and that's not the point. But what's happening right now, in my understanding, is like we are in the in-between between two eclipses. So the lunar eclipse happened on the 14th of March, and it was a full moon. And in full moons, it's like you can think of the swell, right? Like we swell up to release. So during that time, we were in a releasing mode, and it got us, whether we intended it to or not, to see like what isn't working for us anymore. What have we outgrown? Has there been a relationship, a cycle, a role we've been playing at work that just kind of has lost its luster, or has just shifted alignment, or we've completed it? So lots of completion energy right now, things coming to conclusion. Maybe that's a lesson or a family pattern that you've seen running the show, that you're like, I'm good. I got it. I've learned this. I'm not passing it on, right? Or maybe it's something that you've developed a great skill at doing, but it doesn't have your heart. It doesn't like have the juice, the magic, the expansion, the excitement in your body to kind of continue doing it anymore, because maybe it feels like you're kind of part of I don't want to say a factory, but just it's so well known that you're like yearning to learn a new skill or learning to want to do something different. So that's kind of like the full moon release, things coming to a closure. And as we're moving tomorrow, so we're in the energies of a new moon solar eclipse, which means new moons are all about new beginnings. And as far as my understanding is like, it's not just any new moon eclipse, like it's also aligning with Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, which we just moved into. So we have all these planets aligning with new beginnings, not just one. And eclipses are like wild cards. They shake things up. They like bring things to the surface we didn't see before. Things that like were kind of in the background come forth. They shift our perspective quickly. And so tomorrow and this next week, it's a lot about, wow, bold changes, bold reveals, bold clarity. And we get to choose whether we want to really take that leap before we can see the bridge, right? Trusting that the yellow brick road that we've been laying behind us is going to continue to be paved, but it might require us to like raise our hand, stake a claim, and say, you know what, the time is now. I digress for a second because it just wants to come through. A few weeks ago, in one of my meditations, I've been studying a bunch of different psychic trainings, techniques, and working with the departed. I connected with this being who, in my awareness, was the being that I miscarried 18 years ago. I had like actually kind of forgotten about it. And this being had male energy. And at the time when I miscarried, I named him Dylan. And I hadn't like communed with his presence. I don't know. And I can't even tell you for years. And he came through, and the statement that just dropped right in and said, "You're ready, Mom." And it gave me such chills of encouragement, because it's that kind of like thing that comes through to encourage us to take that bold leap, and being available for whatever form that wants to come through. So that's these energies right now. The last thing I will say is, from a planetary standpoint, is we have Venus, which governs beauty, relationships, finances, like the bodacious, beautiful goddess energy. She's in retrograde, and she comes into being direct, which retrograde means like planets appear like they're moving backwards. They're not. They're just in a more reflective phase. So that part of ourselves is being way more reflective. So it's like this nurturing ourselves is needed right now. What feels really yummy to our bodies? How do we create more space for beauty to come in? Mercury is a planet that governs communication, technology, information. It's more masculine. There's a cosmic joke that like when technology goes to shit or Zoom like crashes, it's like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde. Like we like to chalk things up to that. But Mercury comes direct in mid-April, which means right now this phase that we're in the in-between of a lot of stuff surfacing we're in this waiting period. We can feel something coming. It's stirring us. It's asking us to get clear about our dreams. It's asking us to plant the seeds, give ourselves permission of having a fresh start. Like We can clean the slate and start anew at any point. And the energies are really ripe right now in support of all of that. And so that's to me is so fascinating. It's like, wow, like we're moving into spring, but all this stuff is happening to support our awakening of why we're here, what our soul wants, what our light is yearning for. And then it's time to allow the things to shed that's holding us back or keeping us restricted or holding us in any way that's not serving us anymore to just melt away. And I'm talking to myself here. It's okay to not be clear. It's like learning to trust, stay open, that clarity is coming. And that's what's happening right now, that we're in this new cycle of creation and giving ourselves permission to really create what we want to create and to notice where we expand and to notice where we lean, we contract, and we procrastinate. So I'm going to pause there, see if any of those seeds resonate with you, or if there's anything that you would like to bubble up that's present in this context of what if a fresh start was right here? Like, what are we ready to let go of? What's not working any longer? And where do we want to lean in? Would anybody like to take yourself off of mute and respond or share what landed or what you're curious about, or if you have a question?
I have a question, Jen. This is Staryn.
Hi, sweetie.
Um, did you say that it was March 11th that was the eclipse? Did I hear that right?
No, so the the lunar
Lunar
eclipse is
one.
on March 14th, and
Wow.
the solar eclipse is tomorrow on March 29th.
And I guess, I mean, at the risk of, I don't know if I'm oversharing or if, but I'm just going to say this as like that week of my life, like the 12th, 13th, and 14th of March, it was like revealed to me that my ex-husband is living a completely different life, like, and has been for years. Like, it's so weird that you're saying that like things are being revealed and that they're in transition, because I can totally feel it.
Yep.
Like I can feel like I found out all the stuff that made so many things prior to so clear. And now it's kind of, I'm in that phase of like, what's next?
Yes, exactly.
So I'm just tripping out that that was the day. So anyway, but that it was that timing. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's what's so surprising. Like we're all connected. Um, and that is the energy right now, especially in this eclipse time of the some people say the veil of perception is thin, where
Yeah.
our, if you think about it, I believe we're multi-sensory, multi-dimensional beings. We've
Hmm.
been dumbed down to think that just our body, our reality is all there is.
Yeah.
What's revealing is, like, I would imagine for you, Staryn, like you were picking up things that and sensing things were off or not as they appeared to be
And it was all revealed.
at a cellular level. And then now it gets revealed and it all makes sense, right?
Yeah, like 5 years later. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else like to share what's surfacing or?
I put this in the chat, Jen, but it made me think of something that somebody said to me years ago, that you can't take a leap of faith if you don't jump. And I love that you got this message that it's time to jump.
Yeah. Yeah. In the spirit of accomplishments and shedding, do you want to share a little celebration that you're
I
celebrating
can.
today?
Yeah, because actually, it is in the spirit of shedding. So when the last time I was at Lantern 2, one of our activities was about finding something in nature that, represented a lesson we were taking with us. And I picked up a pine cone, and my lesson was that tree, it will still be tall and stately and serving its purpose, but it no longer needed those pine cones, and it didn't need to carry them, and it didn't impact its magnificence and importance by letting it go. And that pine cone has sat on my dresser since I have been at Lantern as a reminder to me that I made a promise to myself to let go of physical weight that I've been carrying on my body. So I had shared with Jen earlier today that my 1 year anniversary of this commitment to self-care is coming up next week, and I hit my goal this morning, which is just amazing. So I am officially down 70 pounds since this time last year. And I'm just really proud of myself for staying committed to it and being intentional and hitting this goal.
That's incredible. You should be so proud, and we're proud of you. And
Thank you.
saw so much of your commitment over the last year, and your light was bright regardless. And it's so fun to see your own excitement and how you're seeing yourself now. That just is so radiant and special. So
Yeah, just I
amazing.
feel part of our time at Lantern was also about, the word I put on my rock was to feel freer. And when I left, I'm like, I want to feel free. And my body feels so much more free now,
Yeah,
which also then impacts emotionally feeling free. So it both accomplished my pine cone and my free.
I love that. And I hope all of us listening, I think just one of the things to underline and highlight is like, wow, look at how powerful you were to create your reality.
Yes.
The experience of the feeling. Now it may look different, but that your consciousness had the desire to want that feeling more, the feeling of feeling free.
Mhm.
And then how literally you embodied that feeling. And that, I think, is the reminder and the invitation right now to step out of playing small, to really lean into the bold permission of what is the feeling you want, I want to feel. I personally, freedom for me has been a value since I was a little girl. It's partly why I've kind of been an entrepreneur and just rebelled against rules. Like I like freedom of expression, freedom to create, freedom to do and be me. For each one of us, that value comes out in different expressions. I probably chose to live in the United States at some level and incarnate this way because of our value of freedom and all of it being surfaced right now of, how that comes into right relationship of its own full expression. But well damn done of putting that intention on your candle and believing it so, and then taking the action to bring that manifest forward into form. And my hope is like we can really do that this weekend. What is your intention? What do you want to bring forth? How do you want to feel in this next chapter? Maybe it's just the next month, maybe it's the next year, maybe it's the next decade.
Mhm.
Maybe it's in the next 15 years, because I'm going to mention one more thing that's happening on Sunday is Neptune, this big planet's going into alignment with Aries for the next 15 years. And apparently it's a big deal. It really moves things. It hasn't been in this alignment since 1864. So and it's not going to happen again in our lifetime over the next 15 years. And it's really powerful about bold leaning into the choice that we want to align with. So freaking well done. That's awesome. So proud of you.
Thank you so much. And thanks for everybody support and celebrating with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll take one more share before we go into a little guided getting here. Is there anybody that would like to say anything else?
I don't mind
Stacy?
sharing. Yeah. So I had a bunch of stuff in a storage unit. It was time to shed and go through all sorts of things. And it was so wild to do that because I had moved from New York. Oh, geez. It was back in 2006 that I moved away. And you can imagine just the wasted money of firstly, having a storage unit that long, thinking I would make my way back, which I didn't. But it was time to go through all these things. So I'm going through all of these old journals, diaries, photographs, and I'm like going back in this very reflective space and of all these different chapters because geez, what was in that storage unit? I sort of locked it in 2006, but there's stuff way earlier than that, right? So now I'm 50 and I'm looking back at my life going, wow, look at all these different chapters. Well, I come across a vision board that I had created. And I hadn't seen this in years, but I had put this, and it was big. It was one of those, big posters, and I did all of the cutouts for the magazines, and it kind of reminds me of a similar one that we had done that I keep close, right? And
Mhm.
so imagine it's really really big, and I made this years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh my gosh, I did this. Yep, I did this, or yep, I've achieved this. And it was so cool because it was a way to sort of put down that intention, right? And sort of physically take the time and also emotionally, spiritually, everything, right? To think about what intention do I want to set for myself. And here it is, all pasted and posted. And it was just really, really cool. What I realized is I need a new one
Yeah.
because that was so long ago and it felt really good. But I'm like, So I appreciate the invitation for us to be thinking about what is your intention now? And what do you see for yourself? And what do you want to manifest into form? And so I've got some homework there as I think about it. But it was really cool to see that and that it was this living document if you will that I wasn't necessarily looking at all the time but that I had at some point put it down and was able to sort of actualize it.
Yeah. And it's creative and fun, and what a wonderful reminder of how far you've come. And that I love the reminder you can do it again with a fresh canvas. I I should have brought, I didn't bring, but similarly, Stacy, last weekend I have a book that's about this big, and it became my vision board. And for some reason, it wanted me to look through it last weekend. And I date everything. And so I had forgotten I started it in 2014. And just usually around the solstice or New Year or something, I would add to it. And it just told a story of like these expressions, these chapters, these yearnings. And I too, I was like, oh, this is so interesting. Like, I don't know if I've accomplished everything in there, but I could certainly see this like theme of my heart. Like, what pictures spoke to me, what words. I mean, there was a lot of light in there. It was pretty comical. But like, just, me being my own coach and would offer that. If that feels like a great thing to do this weekend, you can collage. Another beautiful way to like physically plant seeds into your own fertile soil is get seeds and hold a packet. I gave them to everybody who came to Soul Space at Heart Space last week, and you can blow your intention into the seed packet and then sprinkle them on the ground or plant them in a indoor flower pot is another way to like bring your dreams, combine it with your will, and then literally plant it in this reality. So like whatever that looks like, you can do it in so many ways. You could even do it with your honey. If you think about like if you sweeten tea, instead of just putting your like tablespoon or teaspoon of honey, Like, what if you just took a moment and just sent the honey your intentions of what you want to sweeten in your life? Could be money, could be a relationship, could be anything. And then you put it in your tea and then drink it. And now you're embodying the intention. You can do it with water, a plain cup of water, and just hold that cup of water. Or you could write on a sticky note what you want to manifest, what you want to intend, what you want to bring forth in this next phase. Stick the sticky note on the water, channel your focus into that, and then drink it. Another way to embody, I think, what are these seeds? What is this fresh start? We can give ourselves permission. And with the stars in asking us to dream big right now, to be bold in our focus and our intention, we can do that in a multitude of ways. So I love that you shared that, Stacy. How fun. Okay, let's go in, and enough talking about this. Let's just take a moment we're gonna quiet and go inside for a minute. I'm not gonna play any music today, but I am gonna do a little chime. So we'll do this for about 10 minutes or less, but if you wanna take yourself off of video and make sure you're muted and just arrive in your own space, whatever that is, wherever you are. The beautiful thing is, like, when we close our eyes, we can disconnect from the external stimulation and we tune our attention inward. So just take a moment to scan inward, as if you are the eye of your own observer, just noticing any tension in the body, maybe where your feet are connecting to the floor, or where your bottom is being supported by furniture that has the gravity of your weight descending, getting heavier as you begin to relax into you. And then let's take nice deep breath through your nose, inhaling as deep as possible, expanding your lungs, your heart space, and then exhaling out your mouth or nose, whatever is natural to you. And just take a few nice deep inhales, breathing in this special gift of life that we've been given today. And then exhaling, giving yourself permission to release, to let go, to make room for freshness. And then just listen to the sounds of the chime as you continue your breathing in through your nose, inhaling deeply, exhaling out in your own way, just beginning to relax. Honoring who you are, giving thanks for all the lessons you've learned up till this precious moment. Calling in the higher light, whatever you believe that to be. Maybe that's God or goddess or guides, your angels, ancestors, the universe, nature, spirits. And just ask for help as we transition, as we give ourselves permission to let go and to begin anew, a fresh start. And just say in your mind, after me or with me. I am who I am, and that is enough. I am who I am, and that is enough. I am who I am, and that is enough. I am listening. I am open to receive. I am awake and aware. I am aligned to the light that I am. I trust. I allow. I notice. Take a nice deep breath in and out. And just noticing your presence and light field begin to expand and float upwards or outwards. And your mind begins to travel with your consciousness to your sacred space. Maybe it's a place you've visited before, your favorite vacation spot, a place where you feel supported, enlivened, healthy, and whole. Maybe it's at the beach as you feel the sand between your toes and watch the waves gently lap against the shore. Or maybe it's high up on the mountaintop or in the forest or in a beautiful meadow. And just feel the sunlight wherever you are warm you, relax you, and enliven you. And you notice a body of water wherever you are. Maybe it's a pond or a small lake, or maybe it's the ocean. And it has this dazzling, sparkly light to it. And you find yourself being drawn to jump in. Maybe you take a dive and you feel the freshness of the water cleansing you, washing away all of your worries, any constraint. And it just melts away, cleanses what you've outgrown as you leave this old chapter behind. And the healing waters literally hydrate every cell, infusing you with this incredibly dazzling healing light that gives you hope and excitement for what's to come. And you swim freely as you frolic in the water, feeling this weight of heaviness come off of you. And then you find your way to the shore. As you walk out, somehow a beautiful robe adorns your body, keeping you warm and drying you off. And then you start to notice this beautiful, rich, vital garden near you. It's blooming with plants and flowers and vegetables. And there's this open section that has the most fertile soil waiting for you to plant your seeds, to plant your intention, to dream your dream. And you know that whatever you plant there, whether it's a feeling, a place, a manifestation, a change, that it must come forth. It must bloom. And it does. So give yourself permission to plant, allowing a seed from your packet, from your heart, to leap out and find grounding, nutrients, and nourishment in the soil. And you give thanks, allowing it to grow, to blossom, to take root in its own time with utmost conviction and confidence that it will grow. It will bloom when it is ready. And then soak in all the colors of your bountiful, abundant garden that you have sown and seeded. And as you walk out, you return to your beautiful space. And you begin to find a stairway that leads you down back to where you are right now. And you begin to descend in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then allowing your awareness to return to your breath, allowing the chimes to bring you back, aligned to your light, aligned to your truth, aligned to your heart's knowing of what's next. And then let's take one nice deep breath in through our nose, inhaling this gift of oxygen, health, happiness, well-being, and allowing your breath to return to its own natural cycle. And you can open your eyes and move your fingers and feet. Move your shoulders around, and whenever you're ready, you can bring yourself back on camera when you're ready. If we had more time, I would encourage you to write down what came to you. And you can do that after the call. Would anybody like to share what you experienced or what you became present to, or another question that's on your heart that doesn't have to be related to the meditation? And if you feel like you do after I start talking, feel free to interrupt me. It's always a bit of this yummy sacred space that kind of wants to just be bathed in, right? To continue, and words kind of get in the way. So I would just encourage you, whatever. Hi, Kelly. Welcome. To give yourself real honoring permission for you to explore what does your garden look like this season.
So Jen,
Yeah. Hi, sweetie.
hi.
Hi.
I took me for a sec because I went and laid down so I could like
Yeah.
really enjoy it. What I wanted to say, what came up for me is I have all these ideas of what I want to do, and it's like I can't do them all at once, right?
Yeah.
So what I was looking for during that lovely visualization that you guided us on was trying to get a little more clear of what's next. And yeah, I feel like when I asked the question, it was clear, like what was coming up for me.
How did it come to you, Kelly? Do you mind sharing? Like, was it a word? You don't have to share what it is, but like, did it come in a symbol, in a
No, just
answer
like an
verbally?
image of me doing it.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, so I can tell you, like, um, I don't know what capacity I would do this in, but I really see myself speaking on stages, and I'm taking like little steps. Like, I just signed up for Toastmasters, and I'm doing that, and that's really fun. And but yeah, just trying to like follow the breadcrumbs, but I'm following the breadcrumbs of a lot of different things. So I was like, okay, let me just see if there's something that's a little bit more like I can dial it in a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah.
And also would just encourage there there's such information in following expansion, in following curiosity, in following what is getting your attention right now. And I think our tendency is to need to choose because we rationalize that we can't do it all, which is true. But we're in this like really interesting phase and stage of creativity, of like dabbling, of like how does this feel to me? And I love that you're doing that. Like you've taken a step to say, wow, I see myself already at this end state, and that feels really great. And you've already signed up for Toastmasters as a skill set to make that happen. And what else is on the plate of inquiry for you? So those feel like an incredible match. And that may be one, knowing you is just one expression of many different forms, right? Because,
Yeah.
it's not to say that we can't bring it all to fruition, but sometimes by going down that path that you're doing with public speaking, as an example, like that came in really clearly, that there might be some other things on the plate that you can take the next couple steps towards, and it might inform both. And so I so relate of like feeling the need to choose. And yet, like right now, the like this in between, like April, May is like try different things. Notice like where is the curiosity, the creativity, and how the information comes. Like you saw, so you were very visual. You saw a future forward kind of embodiment of yourself. And some of you might hear it in a song. You might get a lyric. You might get a song title. You might feel a frequency of a vibration of sound. You might get an actual statement like I shared with Dylan coming through and saying, "You're ready, mom." You know, it was like I couldn't have made that up. Like totally not in my radar of perception at all. So just noticing how wisdom, how your inner light, how your soul speaks. And that's such a beautiful example, Kelly. That's awesome. I'd love to support you any way I can to do that, to make that a reality. It's awesome.
I know you would, Jen. You're amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody else like to share?
I loved the idea that everything doesn't have to happen right now, that this shift in Neptune is a 15-year shift. So for me, like really thinking when you said, how do I want to feel, not just like this year, next year, but what in the next 15 years? Like that's such a big question and feels like there's so much permission in
Yeah.
that, because that's such a huge amount of time to be able to like fill with so many different dreams.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, this next phase and stage, like who knows how long that is, but in Neptune, it's 2025 to 2039, and it's where dreams align with our will. So, Kelly, coming back to that dream of seeing yourself on stage and the will to take the steps to align that, to bring that forth. And so I know for myself, getting my own self-limiting glass ceiling out of the way is the big body of that work, even though I like appear to be confident and I know I've got these skills, but taking that leap is like, oh shit, it's so unknown. It's so stretching. But trusting right now that we are so supported, and 90% of it is giving ourselves permission that it's okay to dream big, to be bold right now in whatever unique way it's coming forth for you, because each one of us has our own unique give a shits, our unique passions, and our own unique strengths and skills that either we came into this life with naturally or we have developed them through experience or both. Those are our grounding. That's our indication of like, where do we lean in and where do we lean out? And right now, the time is such to give ourselves permission to really know that. Nobody can do that work for us. We have to do that work for ourselves. So in the coming weeks and coming months, I'd love for you to join my practice, and together we'll practice like following those seeds, paying acute attention to the answers, asking for help, and then opening to listen, and bathing ourselves in different activities that feel really fucking good. To follow the feeling of feeling good and give yourself that permission, because it opens us up to the potentiality and the possibilities. And then practicing, which is for me right now the hardest, is like being comfortable in the unknown, that I don't have the answers yet. I feel like they're going to get clear, but it's really, I said something to somebody yesterday, like I feel like I'm a puzzle and all the pieces are out on the table, which is different for me because I've always had this like super clear vision. And I just feel like it's all over on the table, and I'm like, show me. My tea bag this morning was this quote: "The unknown is where all the outcomes are possible. Enter it with grace." Grace is a muscle to practice. Grace moves effortlessly. My hope is that you'll find grace, you'll find gentleness in putting yourself first and being really curious about what fresh start are you ready for? What new beginning do you want to like usher forth, and know how supported you are by all of us on the call, by lights everywhere, by the universe. that we're in this together. And how lucky are we to be awake and aware and alive and conscious to walk through it. So I want to honor your time. Thank you so much for joining Awesome Hour. A few practices I'll write down and send a follow-up email, but watch for guiding signs. Watch the synchronicities. Watch the muse. Listen. Open your field of awareness and perception. So like if something gets revealed, how many different points of view can you take on that revelation? Instead of just locking in on one side and one point of view, can you see it from the other side? Can you see it from the north, the south, the east, and the west? Give yourself a chance to receive the guidance, the support, the answers. And the way I know how to do that is creating more space for myself to do nothing, to be in nature, to take a bath, to read a book, to like just turn the figuring it out off, the strategizing off. It doesn't mean that won't come back, but just give yourself more time to have more space so that you can hear you can hear your higher light. Give your dreams attention. So like whether it's the vision board, Stacy, or you literally have a dream, or you are watching somebody do something, and you're like, I want to do that, right? Like take note. And then last but not least, ask your light. Don't forget like to ask your light for the answer. It seems so simple, but just what if you just had a love letter to your light and all the big questions that you have on your mind of what your next step is? What does a fresh start mean? What do I need to bring forth? Like, do I have to choose? Just ask your light will answer. And you could pretend you're having this dialogue and see what comes through. So I think, Sierra, did you if you don't mind putting this Soul Space link, I'm hosting Soul Space for women online and in person. Would love for those of you who are not in Utah to join our next one. And Sierra just put, if you go to plentyconsulting.com/events, or she just put the link in. If that speaks to you, it's more of this, but it's 90 minutes. So we have more shares and really an opportunity to just continue the soul work, like connecting soul sister to soul sister. So thank you for being here. You are all awesome. And I hope you enjoyed Awesome Hour. And Jeff will be back next month. Know that we're here for you. I'm here. I love getting texts and I love supporting your path. So know you're not alone and that you are so loved. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. Happy solar eclipse. Happy Neptune. Happy it all. Happy spring. And be so well. So see you soon, everybody. Bye.